You bought the planner. You set up the app. You made the list. The first week felt incredible. You knew where everything was. You knew what to do next. Then something shifted. A busy day, a missed review, and 2 weeks later the system is gone. The planner is empty. The app has notifications you stopped reading. The list is buried under new lists. You are back where you started. Except now you also feel like you failed. By the end of this, you will know exactly why your systems collapse, and it has nothing to do with the tools you chose. This is not about discipline. You have watched this happen with every system you ever tried. The bullet journal that worked until it didn't. The app everyone swore by that you abandoned in a month. The color-coded calendar that became visual noise. The pattern is always the same. It works, then it stops. And you blame yourself for not sticking with it. Here is what actually happened. You built tactics without principles. A tactic is a specific action. A principle is the rule underneath it. Tactics are fragile. They work under perfect conditions and collapse under pressure. Principles are structural. They hold when life gets messy. Every system you abandoned was made of tactics. And tactics without principles always fall apart because they cannot adapt when the conditions change. This is why someone can follow the exact same productivity method you tried and make it work for years while yours died. In 2 weeks, they are not more disciplined. They are running on different infrastructure. The tool does not matter. The principle does. And without the principle, every tool becomes clutter. The first principle is clarity before action. Your brain will not start a task it cannot picture. This is not laziness. This is architecture. When you write down a task like taxes, or fix the garage, or plan the trip, you have not actually defined a task. You have named a project, and your brain knows the difference. A project requires decisions. A task is a single physical action. When you look at your list and feel resistance, it is not because you do not want to do the work. It is because your brain is being asked to make a decision and take action at the same time, and that creates friction that stops you cold. Here is what it looks like when you ignore this principle. You sit down to work, you open your list. You see, plan the trip. Your brain has to decide what that means. Book the flight. Research hotels. Check the dates. The decision is small, but it costs energy, and because it costs energy, your brain starts looking for an easier option. You check email, you refill your coffee, you find something else. This happens so fast you do not even notice you made a choice. You just notice that an hour passed and you did nothing. Here is what it looks like when you apply it. You write, print the 1099 forms instead of taxes. You write, call the plumber about the kitchen sink instead of fix the garage. You write, compare flight prices on 2 websites instead of plan the trip. Now, when you sit down, there is no decision to make. There is only action, and action starts immediately because the friction is gone. This is not a small difference. This is the difference between a system that works and a system you abandon. The second principle is systems over willpower. Willpower is a limited resource that depletes across the day. A system is a structure that runs, whether you feel like it or not. Every time you rely on willpower to remember something, to make a decision, to follow through, you are spending from an account that runs out. And when it runs out, the behavior stops. This is not failure. This is math. Here is what it costs when you ignore it. You tell yourself you will remember to send that email. You will. You are sure of it. But by the afternoon, 3 other things happen, and the email is gone. Not because you do not care, because your brain is not designed to hold tasks. It is designed to have ideas. When you use it for storage, you are using the wrong tool for the job. And the cost is not just the forgotten email. The cost is the background noise. Every task you are trying to remember stays active in your brain, pulling attention, creating stress, even when you are not aware of it. This is called the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain does not let go of open loops, it keeps them running. And the more loops you have open, the less capacity you have for anything else. Here is what it looks like when you apply it. You have one single capture point, not 3 apps and a notebook and a pile of sticky notes. One place. Everything goes there. When you think of something, you do not try to remember it. You write it in the one place, and because you trust that place completely, your brain lets it go. The loop closes. The noise stops. This is not about being organized. This is about freeing up the capacity your brain was wasting on storage so you can use it for thinking. The third principle is time blocking as a decision, not a suggestion. A to-do list is not a plan, it is a wish. It tells you what you hope to do. It does not tell you when you will do it. And without a when, the task stays theoretical. Time blocking is different. When you put a task on your calendar, you are making a final decision. This task will happen at this time. And that decision removes the need to decide again later. This is why people who time block get more done than people with long to-do lists, not because they work harder, because they removed the decision layer. Here is what it costs when you ignore it. You have a list of 10 things. All of them feel important. None of them have a time attached. You start the day thinking you will get to all of them. By the end of the day, you did 3. The other 7 move to tomorrow. This happens every day. The list grows, and the growing list creates a feeling of falling behind that never stops. The problem is not that you are slow. The problem is that 10 tasks cannot fit in one day, but a list does not show you that. A list lets you lie to yourself about what is possible. Here is what it looks like when you apply it. You take the 10 tasks and you put them in time blocks. This task gets 1 hour starting at 9. This task gets 30 minutes starting at 2. And the moment you do this, you see the truth. Only 5 tasks fit. The other 5 do not. And now you have a decision to make. Which 5 matter most? This is not comfortable, but it is real. And a real plan that you follow is worth more than a fake plan that makes you feel busy. Time blocking does not give you more time. It shows you what your time actually holds, and that clarity is what lets you stop lying to yourself about what you can do in a day. The fourth principle is the regular audit. A system is like a garden. If you do not weed it, it becomes overgrown. The audit is the weeding. Once a week, you sit down and you look at everything you captured. You look at your calendar. You look at your task list. You ask one question: does this still matter? And you remove everything that does not. This is not optional. This is the thing that keeps the system alive. Because life changes. Priorities shift. A task that mattered last week does not matter now. But if you do not remove it, it stays in the system, creating noise, taking up space, making everything harder to see. Here is what it costs when you ignore it. You start with a clean system. It works, but you do not review it. Tasks pile up. Old projects stay on the list. Your calendar fills with blocks for things you no longer care about. And slowly, without noticing, your system stops reflecting your actual life. You are working from a map that is 3 weeks out of date, and when the map does not match the territory, you stop trusting it. And when you stop trusting it, you stop using it. This is why your systems die. Not because you are undisciplined, because you did not maintain them. Here is what it looks like when you apply it. Every Friday, you spend 15 minutes. You go through your capture point. You delete tasks that no longer matter. You clarify tasks that are still vague. You move tasks to your calendar. You look at next week, and you make sure the blocks match what you actually need to do. This 15 minutes saves you hours. Because when Monday starts, you do not have to figure out what to do. You already decided. And because you decided on Friday when you were calm, the decision is better than the one you would make on Monday when you are already tired. These principles do not work in isolation. They compound. Clarity makes it possible to build a system because you know exactly what the system needs to hold. The system makes time blocking possible because you trust that everything is captured and nothing is forgotten. Time blocking makes the audit faster because your week is already structured and you are just refining it. And the audit makes clarity easier because you are constantly sharpening your tasks into actions instead of letting them blur into projects. This is a flywheel. Each principle makes the others easier, and the cumulative effect is not linear. It is exponential. Here is what it looks like over weeks instead of days. Week 1, you spend extra time defining tasks clearly. It feels slow. Week 2, your capture system is trusted and your brain starts letting go of open loops. You sleep better. Week 3, your time blocks start matching reality because you stopped overloading your calendar. Week 4, your audit takes 10 minutes instead of 30 because there is less clutter. Week 6, someone asks you to take on something new, and you look at your calendar and you see exactly what you would have to remove to make space. You say no without guilt because the trade-off is visible. Week 8, you realize you have not felt behind in a month. Not because you are doing more, because you are doing the right things, and you know why. This is not about perfection. Your system will break. You will miss an audit. You will have a week where nothing gets time blocked, and you are back to reacting. That is fine. The principle is not that you never break the system. The principle is that you know how to rebuild it. And because you know the structure, rebuilding takes 15 minutes instead of starting over from scratch. So why do all your systems fall apart after 2 weeks? Because you built tactics without principles. Tactics are fragile, principles are structural. Clarity tells you what to do. Systems hold it without willpower. Time blocking makes it real. The audit keeps it current. Together they create something that does not collapse when life gets hard. The tools do not matter. The principles do.